Last year, Sitare Zameen Par came to the theaters. The film showed adults with disabilities living normal lives. They laugh, make friends, and play basketball together. The team includes people with different conditions. Some have Down syndrome, some have speech difficulties, some have other intellectual disabilities. One character, Hargovind, lives with autism spectrum disorder. Hargovind's autism is not easy to see, it is quiet, it is subtle. Many people may not notice it at first. This is why autism is often called as invisible condition. For a long time people did not understand autism. Children who behaved differently were called difficult or slow. Many of them never received a diagnosis. Today, things are changing. Doctors understand autism better, children can be diagnosed earlier, schools and families are becoming more aware. But this raises some big questions. Are more people autistic today, or are we just better at identifying it? How many people like Hargovind were misunderstood in the past, and how many are still invisible today? Today, we will try to understand what autism really is, how it works, and why it matters. Let us take you back to 1990. Back then, autism was considered rare in India. Most pediatricians never saw a single case in their entire career. Children with symptoms were labeled shy, late bloomers, or difficult. Parents were told, boys speak late, she will grow out of it, stop worrying so much. Fast forward to today, every major hospital has an autism clinic. Every city has therapy centers, every school discusses inclusive education. In 2005, autism prevalence in India was estimated at 1 in 500 children. In 2018, the Inclin study found 1 in 65 children aged 2 to 9 years. In 2024, experts estimate numbers have jumped further since the pandemic. But here is the uncomfortable question: did autism actually increase, or did we just start noticing? The answer is complicated and it reveals something deeply disturbing about our modern lifestyle. Autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental condition. It affects how a person communicates, interacts with others, and experiences the world. The word spectrum is important. It means every person with autism is different. Some need support, others live independently, some speak multiple languages, others are non-verbal, some have extraordinary memory or artistic skills, others struggle with basic daily tasks. Under India's Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, autism is recognized as a disability. This means children are eligible for support, reservations, and benefits. But recognition alone does not explain the rise. This is where it gets confusing. We have more medical advances today than ever before, yet cases keep rising. The World Health Organization says global autism prevalence has increased dramatically over the past 5 decades. And India is no exception. So, what is going on? Is it better detection, changing definitions, environmental factors, lifestyle changes? Let's break it down. Let's start with the good news. 20 years ago, most Indian parents had never heard of autism. Today, thanks to social media, Bollywood films, and advocacy groups, awareness has grown. Tare Zameen Par showed a child with dyslexia. Dear Zindagi touched on mental health. Barfi portrayed a character with disabilities. The media has brought neurodiversity into living rooms. Last year, Sitare Zameen Par took it further. It showed adults with disabilities living full, joyful lives, not as objects of pity, but as people with dreams and relationships. Parents today know the early signs: no babbling by 12 months, no pointing by 12 months, no single words by 16 months, loss of language or social skills at any age. These days, when parents see something off, they don't ignore it. They go to a doctor, they ask questions, and that is how more and more children are getting diagnosed. But awareness alone does not explain the magnitude of the rise. So the definition of autism has changed. In the 1980s and 1990s, autism was diagnosed using narrow criteria. Only children with severe symptoms qualified. Then came two important changes. In 2013, the DSM 5 was published. In 2018, the ICD 11 was released. These manuals changed everything. They created one umbrella term, autism spectrum disorder. This now includes conditions that were previously diagnosed separately: autistic disorder, Asperger's syndrome, children disintegrative disorder, and pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified. What does this mean? A child who would have been called socially awkward 20 years ago now receives an autism diagnosis. A child who would have been labeled gifted but odd now qualifies for support. But here is the catch: even after accounting for broader criteria, the rise continues. Something in our environment is pushing numbers higher. Ask any pediatrician in India today, they will tell you the same thing. After COVID 19 lockdowns, autism cases exploded. For 2 years, children were isolated, no play dates, no preschool, no birthday parties, no cousins visiting, no joint family interactions. A child's brain develops through social connection. When that connection was severed during critical developmental windows, those neural pathways did not form the way they should have. During lockdowns, children were handed phones and tablets to keep them occupied. Screen time replaced human time. No matter how educational the app, a screen will never teach your child to look at you when you speak, wait for their turn in a conversation, or understand why someone is sad. Hospitals were overcrowded with COVID 19 patients. Regular checkups stopped, developmental screenings were postponed, early intervention windows that is critical for autism were missed. Emerging research suggests maternal SARS-CoV-2 infection during pregnancy may increase neurodevelopmental risk due to inflammatory responses. The pandemic did not create autism, but it may have triggered vulnerabilities in children who were already predisposed. Three generations under one roof used to be the norm in India. Today, nuclear families are the reality. Working parents, limited time, no extended family nearby. Children have fewer natural opportunities for social learning. But the changes don't stop there. The very food on their plates has also transformed. Preservatives, additives, ultra processed foods. The Indian diet has changed dramatically in 3 decades. We eat more packaged food than ever before. More sugar, more unhealthy fats, less fresh cooking. While direct links between diet and autism are still being studied, the impact of nutrition on brain development is undisputed. Air pollution, pesticides, plastics, endocrine disruptors. India's cities are among the most populated in the world. Studies increasingly link prenatal exposures to toxins with neurodevelopmental disorders. We are not just changing our lifestyles, we are changing the very environment our children grow up in. Let's be clear, autism has a strong genetic component. Research shows that if one identical twin has autism, the other has a 60 to 90% of chance of being diagnosed. For non-identical twins, the risk drops to 10 to 30%. Scientists in India are actively studying the genetic basis of autism. Globally, researchers are taking it a step further, using stem cells from patients with different autism-linked mutations to grow miniature brain models in labs and understand how these genes affect early brain development. But these genes alone cannot explain the rise. Genetic changes take generations. The increase that we are seeing has happened in decades. What experts believe is happening is a gene environment interaction. Children with genetic vulnerability are being exposed to environmental triggers, screens, pollution, stress, dietary changes that push them towards autism. A child may have the genes, but it takes environmental triggers to bring out the condition. Here's a shocking fact: India has fewer than 10,000 psychiatrists for a population of 1.4 billion. This is just 0.75 psychiatrists per 1 lakh people, far below the WHO recommendation of at least 3 per 1 lakh. Child psychiatrists, the country has fewer than 500. Developmental pediatricians, even fewer, barely 200 for entire country. To diagnose autism, India uses its own tool, the Indian Scale for Assessment of Autism, or ISAA. This is the tool that decides if a child gets a disability certificate under the RPWD Act. But experts have raised concerns. Poor utility in children under 9 years, difficulty distinguishing autism from other conditions like ADHD or intellectual disability, underreports severity in high functioning individuals, and most international tools are not available in Indian languages. Out of India's 22 official languages, fewer than 5 have standardized diagnostic materials. If you live in Mumbai, Delhi, or Bangalore, you might find help. But if you live in rural Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, or Uttar Pradesh, you are on your own. Rural families face no nearby diagnostic centers, no trained therapists, no special educators, no government support, and deep social stigma. The Namaste study is an effort to bridge this gap by training ASHA and Anganwadi workers to spot early signs of autism in their communities. It's a smart, local solution, but given the scale of the problem, it is just a drop in the ocean. What has the government done? The European Food Safety Authority has strict limits for cancer causing free MCPD and glycidyl esters in food. India has none. Name one government campaign that taught you about the autism signs, about early interventions, about where to seek help. There is none. Despite the RPWD Act 2016 mandating inclusive education, most schools are unprepared. No trained teachers, no infrastructure, no understanding. The government collaborates with Ayush to help rehabilitation modules. They fund research at NIEPID. They talk about neurodiversity, but on the ground, nothing changes. You cannot control everything, but you can control this. Download the CDC milestone tracker. The CDC is a trusted global health authority, and their app shows you what skills babies typically develop by each age. When they should start smiling, pointing, babbling, or speaking. It's a simple guide. If your child misses these milestones or something feels wrong, trust your instinct. Here's the truth: parents can do everything right and still fail if the system around them is broken, and right now the system is broken. That is where the government comes in, or rather, that is where the government has failed to come in. Where are the government campaigns teaching parents the early signs of autism? Where are the ads telling families where to seek help? On TV, social media, schools, there should be messages everywhere. There is silence instead. Frontline workers, Asha and Anganwadi workers are already in every village, every community. The government could train them to spot developmental delays, give them simple screening tools, make them the first line of detection, but they haven't. They leave families to figure it out alone. Medical colleges need more seats for child psychiatry. Developmental pediatrics needs more funding. Government institutions should be producing more therapists every year. Instead, we have a handful of specialists concentrated in cities while rural India has nothing. The government has the power, they have the money, they have the laws. What they don't have is the will.